Alright, everybody, welcome back to Major Gaming, and today we're gonna be doing another Multiversus tier list. My own personal tier list for how I think the game is going. And I'd just like to say that this game has improved a lot since the beginning. A lot of these characters feel a lot more balanced now. When Black Adam came out, he did not feel OP or super underpowered or anything like that. Like the character balance has been pretty good so far. There are a couple characters that could use some buffs and a couple that could use a little bit some nerfs, but overall, none of them are egregiously overpowered at the moment, which is great. The devs have been doing pretty good on balancing, and overall, if it wasn't for the servers, it would be a lot easier to tell which characters are actually better than others because the servers have been messed up lately. Not only the fact that I keep I keep loading into matches late. So like I was playing as Iron Giant today and I load in and I'm at 30 health already. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, really? Like, so that's annoying. And then just lag in general is annoying. There's like this thing where like I don't know if this is supposed to be in the game. If you know why this happens, let me know in the comments below. But like you'll get hit by like a certain move and your character will just freeze and fly off the stage. Like your character legit will like if you hit the jump button, your character will like skip like it's trying to jump but it won't jump and you can't do any moves. And it's the weirdest thing because it only happens every once in a while and it's the most annoying thing ever and I don't understand. Like, if that's an actual game mechanic where you can just get hit and then your character just freezes and dies and you have no chance of making it back to the stage, that is extremely stupid. I do not want, like, I wouldn't want that as part of the game where just getting hit a certain way for some reason makes you unable to save yourself. I don't understand why that's a thing if it's a thing. But it's been there since the beginning of the game, so I don't know if it's a glitch or if that's supposed to happen. But other than that, I've been really enjoying the game. I'm happy that the roster is growing because we did need more characters. And Season 1 has been great. I still believe that we might be able to get one more character for Season 1 just because of the schedule they're on. For some reason, people keep saying that the 15th starts Season 2. But that's the last day of Season 1. That's not the start of Season 2. The last day of Season 1 is on a Tuesday. So we could get another character on the last day of Season 1 because if you guys remember, Morty was supposed to come out 2 weeks after Season 1 was announced and started. Morty wasn't supposed to drop on the same day as Season 1. He dropped 2 weeks after. So now we have a character drop on the last day of Season 1, and then 2 weeks after Season 2 starts, then we get our first character for Season 2. It makes sense. At least schedule-wise right now, if they keep going with this 2-week thing they're trying to do, then yeah, we could get another character in Season 1. And I would believe it's the Wicked Witch, but, you know, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so long intro aside, let's get into it. Let's start talking about which characters I think are top tier and C tier. D tier is for trash characters, and luckily, we do not have any trash characters in this game. So none of the characters will be in D tier. Anything C tier and up is viable. And I like every character in this game. For anyone who has not seen my videos before, I have every character right now rank or level 16 or 17, except for Black Adam, who's level 13 at the moment. But I have mastered every character except Black Adam so far. So I have experience with each character, and I have experience fighting each character. And this tier list is based off of not singles or doubles, is based on both, just overall the character. Um, for some reason, higher tier players just focus on singles because that's what they play. And some people focus on doubles because that's what the game is kind of centered around. For me, I just do a kind of a mixture of both and, give overall thoughts. Um, so yeah, we're going to get started, and we're going to start off in the S tier. So I'm also, when I do the tiers, I'm going from strongest to weakest in order. Alright, so strongest S tier character, Batman. And the reason why I say this is because he's fast, he has his batarang, he can save himself, and his damn uppercut. His uppercut is crazy. So that is why Batman is an S tier. He can save himself with his grapple hook. He can drop a smoke bomb, which not a lot of people use, but why not? He's fast, and he does good damage, and if he gets you in the air, he can juggle you to death. So Batman is a very strong S tier character. I put him above these other ones just because he is so good at what he does. Now, do I think he needs any major nerfs? No, not really. He could maybe use small nerfs, but overall, he's just a really good character, and I would rather buff the characters that struggle than nerf the characters that do well if they're not broken. Like, if they're not exceedingly good, then like Rick was when he first dropped, or Stripe was when he first dropped, they were insane. There were high levels of ridiculousness coming out of those two characters when they first dropped. But now, they're pretty balanced, so I prefer buffing the struggling characters to match the S tier, because eventually I want to do a tier list where every character is like S or A tier. I want to get to a point where every character can match up with each other. So, like, I don't think Batman needs major nerfs. Maybe make him a little bit lighter, but other than that, he's just a solid character. Next up, Harley. Harley, again, is ridiculous. She dies quickly, but that is literally her only downside. She has good combos. Her bomb thing is annoying as hell when she just drops a little balloon bomb, and like, you won't expect to be like hit out. She'll combo you, and then hit you in the air, and then you hit the bomb, and then you're dead. It's super annoying, and mainly because you don't expect the bomb to be there. You forget about the bomb, and then all of a sudden you're dead. Her mallet is really good for edge guarding. I have played against a lot of Harleys that once they get you off of the map, they will stand there and they will spam their mallet just to make sure you die. It's quite ridiculous. She's quick. She can juggle you. Pretty much characters that can juggle you in the air are very strong in this game. And I kind of wish that there was a way to counter that, like, game-wise, because once they start juggling you in the air and then you lose your dash and then you kind of like start slowly falling back to the stage, if they want to, you're dead. If they want to kill you, you're dead. It happens a lot, especially with Iron Giant. Unfortunately, he just gets juggled and juggled and juggled, and then he's essentially dead because he can't quickly get back down to the ground. And so pretty much any vertical characters are very strong in this game. and you'll see most of them are in S or A tier. Harley is no exception, or Shotgun, that could blast you right out of the game. So, and I don't want people saying, "Oh, Harley's not that strong." No, she's strong. Tony even said, he's like, we might have made Harley too strong, and honestly, I don't think she's too strong, but she's a lot stronger than a lot of other characters. So I think buffing the struggling characters will put them at a much better, state when fighting Harley, if that makes sense. I don't think Harley is broken. I just think she's really good. Alright, so next up is Morty. Morty is one of those characters that when he came out, he wasn't that great. He was okay. He was solid. But his damage output was not that of a bruiser. And then they kind of buffed him a bit. And now, he's definitely one of the strongest in the game. He is fast, and he could do a lot of damage, and he has range, and he has multiple save moves that can keep him from dying. One of them actually heals him. So like he's got everything. He's like a mixture of like every class in the game except tank. Pretty much. He's like a mixture of all of them, and he's a very strong character. He's a complicated character. But once you actually know what his moves do and figure out how they all work, it's not that difficult to just do well with him. So, yeah, Morty is definitely S tier. I doubted him at first, but he has definitely gotten a lot better, and he's a strong character. Alright, so next up is Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman, to me, is the healthiest character in the game. She's a tank, but she's not overly hard to kill. She's not super slow, but she's also not, super quick either. So she is like definitely the healthiest character in this game. If I haven't been mentioning nerfs and buffs a lot because honestly, I don't think a lot of these characters need major nerfs. Wonder Woman should not be touched. She has no reason to be touched, okay? Not unless you're fixing bugs. Do not touch Wonder Woman because she is in a very good spot right now. She is perfectly fine, and every character should be balanced to be balanced on the level that Wonder Woman is. Honestly, she has everything she needs, nothing extra, and everything she does, she can do well. That's what we need. We don't need every character to be a tank, but we need each character to be able to fill their role well. And we need them to be able to compete with other characters. And Wonder Woman is that. She does her role very well. She's a very good tank, but she's not OP and she's not underpowered. She's perfect, pretty much. Do not touch Wonder Woman. Alright. Finn. Next up. A lot of people will say, oh, Finn's not S tier anymore. Yes, he is. He's quick. He doesn't die for some reason. The only nerf I would give Finn is make him a little bit lighter, because this man can run across the stage and not die very easily, and his attacks have a lot of range because of his sword. Like, he can, like, hit you before you hit him, kind of thing. So, like, he's very hard to kill if the Finn knows how to avoid you. And I feel like people, especially the higher tier players, they don't realize this because I feel like they play a lot differently than most people. I feel like they're only talking about attacking, and they never talk about how hard it is to kill a character. Like, having them run away and avoid confrontation with you, because they don't really avoid confrontation. They'll go in and try to combo you until you die. They don't try to run away. But in doubles, Finn, if he doesn't want to die, he can just keep running and dodging out of the way, and he's so quick. It's very hard to get him out of the game. I've seen Finns go up to 200% health just because they can't be caught. They can't be caught in a kill move, you know? So if anything, I think Finn's weight needs to be brought down a little bit, and maybe his backpack needs to be changed again a little bit and brought down a little bit. Other than that, though, I don't think he's OP. I just think he's a very strong character that for some reason does not want to die. Other than the backpack, though, he doesn't. He's not overly intrusive. Maybe his down strike, his down normal or whatever you want to call it, maybe that's a little bit annoying, but honestly, he's just a solid character, and I would rather buff the other characters than bring him down to where he was, because he was really bad a little bit ago, and then they brought him back up. So yeah, I don't think Finn is OP. I just think bring his weight down a little bit, and then maybe, maybe just decrease the damage on the backpack, or just decrease the knockback a little bit, or change how the knockback angle works. I don't know, but just something with the backpack, and then make him a little bit lighter. Not a lot, just a little bit lighter, and then you're good. With Finn, I think he's pretty much balanced. It's just he's a very good character. Alright, so Finn, and now Stripe. Now Stripe has been nerfed quite a bit since he has been dropped, and he was one of the more recent drops. He came out this month, but he's good. Like he's good. His neutral attacks, and I got into someone in the YouTube comments because I had said that Stripe doesn't focus on projectiles as much as Morty and Gizmo did, and Rick. And so he's like, oh, some guy's like, oh, he just spams his saws and guns and everything like that. And unfortunately, I feel like they might have nerfed Stripe a little bit too hard on his gun, but honestly, it's not that bad. He's still a great character. When I played Stripe, before the nerfs, I didn't overuse his gun. I kind of like how it resupplies 3 shots at once instead of one at a time, because a lot of times what would happen is I would be fighting and I would go for a shot and then I'd shoot once, and or I'd shoot 3 times, and then it'd start reloading, and then I'd shoot once, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't notice I didn't have all my bullets left yet, so I'd shoot once, and then I'm like, oh, now I'm down another bullet, and then I'd shoot once again, or twice, and I'm like, oh, no, now it's all messed up because I'm getting 1 bullet at a time instead of all 3. So yeah, I kind of like that change. That it just does all 3 at one time instead of 1 at a time. I like that a lot better. And yeah, his saw blade nerf was not that crazy. I mean, yeah, before you could throw unlimited saw blades and it was kind of crazy, but the ammo thing, it's not that big of a deal. This is what Stripe should be. He has projectiles, but honestly, he focuses more on melee attacks. His skateboard is good. I like his skateboard a lot. His chainsaw, yeah, was a little bit much before, but you can work without his chainsaw. I don't want to have to just forward spam triangle all the time. Forward spam special, So yeah, I like Stripe. I don't think he was nerfed nearly as hard as people think he was. Just gotta not rely on the gun, I didn't rely on the gun, and I have not had any problems with what they did with Stripe, so, that's just me, though. Alright, so next up, we got Velma. I still think Velma is a really good character, especially in doubles. Obviously, she's a support character, so she does a lot better in doubles. I haven't used her too much in 1v1s, but I don't see why she would be bad in 1v1s. Other than the fact that she's more of a ranged character, so maybe keeping the other person back would be kind of hard. But in doubles, she's still good. Like she could still sit on the sidelines and snipe you, and then use her little word bubbles, and she has her mystery machine and all that. So like she's still a solid character. She got nerfed a little bit, but she hasn't been nerfed that bad. She's a solid character. I think Velma's pretty good. All right, so next up we got Bugs, and this will be the last character for S tier. So I know what y'all are thinking. People are like, "Oh, they nerf Bugs. He's not S tier anymore. He's not that good anymore." He's still good. I have not really had that many issues with not winning as Bugs. Bugs is still one of my best characters. So I don't understand why people are like, "Oh, now he's trash." No, he's really not. He has a lot of good avoiding. He can avoid conflict very well. He can hide in the ground. He can save himself with his rockets and stuff like that. If you know how to use Bugs, he's still very good, and he can still save himself a lot. Like he can, like, in order to edge guard Bugs, you really have to like be on top of it, because he has so many ways to save himself. It's crazy, and he doesn't like. Yeah, he's still a solid character. He can still juggle you in the air just like Harley and Batman. He can still do a lot. He's not as strong as he was before, but he's not that much worse. Like, I don't understand that. People are like, "Oh, Bugs is he's not nearly as good. He's only A tier." No, he's still an S tier. He's still an S tier. I don't think people are giving Bugs his credit. He's a very balanced character now, and that's what I'm saying. It's like S tier now just isn't broken anymore. Like, these characters, I don't think they're broken. I think Batman and Harley could use some small nerfs. Finn could use some small nerfs. But other than that, I don't see why you would have to nerf any of these characters now. They're good. They're good characters. Bring the C and B characters up to A and S tier. I want to do a tier list with just A and S. Alright, so that's the final character for S tier. Now we move to A tier. First up in A tier, Jake. Jake is a very strong character. He has a lot of range, and he is just a very like unique character. He could do his stretchy powers are very unique. Like his up triangle, or up special, is some of the weirdest shit I've ever seen, where he just stretches up and up and up. I'm like, how the fuck? So yeah, I like Jake's abilities, and I think he's just a solid character. He's kind of hard to kill sometimes. That's why he's near the top of A tier. He can be hard to kill, and the only thing about Jake, though, and why I didn't put him in S tier like everybody else is putting him in S tier, is for one, I'm doing doubles and singles as like, I'm taking from both. So I can see why Jake would be very good in singles, but doubles, he kind of loses some of that, because when you're playing in doubles, like, Jake is very confrontation heavy. If you don't feed into him, you won't have any issues, because, like, his stretchy up special, he can do that all he wants. If you don't run into it, he's doing nothing. His bounce house, he could do that all he wants. If you don't run into the bounce house, if you watch where he is, it does nothing. If, like, his up strike, his axe move, where he swings his hand up above his head and like shoots you into the air, if you don't jump into it, he could do it all day. He ain't gonna hit nothing. He doesn't have any projectiles. He doesn't have long range. He just has more range than most melee characters. So if you just avoid him in doubles, like if you just kind of step away while he's trying to bait you into getting into his moves, and just focus on the other opponent, he's not that bad. He's really not that crazy, That's just me, but I've figured out ways to fight Jake's. He's not as annoying to me as any of these other characters. He was at some point. At one point, he was kind of annoying, but then he got nerfed a little bit, and I think he's just a solid character now. Alright, so next up, Rick. I was debating whether he's better than Jake, but I think the only thing holding Rick back from being A tier or S tier like he was when he first dropped is that he's very light. He can die quickly. He he's very good at saving himself and avoiding things. Like, he's a ranged character, but he dies quickly. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he, on average, dies quicker than Harley. I know Harley is a very light character, but Rick, he's light. Like, he can just, like, I don't know if it's just me, but the Ricks I play with and against, they die quickly for some reason. Now, they die at low percentages, but if they can save themselves, they're very good at staying alive. But if you get them into a combo at a low percentage, they can die quickly, is what I'm saying. Other than that, his move where he changes you into a little rain dog is very strong. Luckily, it's good they nerfed it, because you were able to die at like 20% with that, and his knockback on some of his moves was insane. So he's been dialed down, and honestly, he's one of the best balanced characters in this game now. He's a range character that's light, and that's what you want from a ranged character. You don't want to have to, fight against a bunch of projectiles just to have to get him to 200% to kill him, So yeah, Rick is very good though. Next up is Shaggy. Shaggy is still a donkey character. I'm happy that they nerfed him. He is far less annoying now. They pretty much made it so that if he throws a sandwich, it takes up all of his rage, which I don't understand why that didn't in the first place, but okay. It takes up all of his range, so people can't just spam sandwich and then do a ground pound or something. That was ridiculous. But so yeah, Shaggy is still a very good character. He is the beginner character. He is the donkey character. He's very simple to use, and I just hate Shaggy players sometimes, because then they'll win, they'll beat you, and then teabag at you like they're not using Shaggy. It's like, yo, you're using literally the tutorial character. He's so simple to use. Stop teabagging at me, you children. It's so annoying. But, I guess that's just me letting it annoy me. But, I don't know. The whole Shaggy thing there, the whole Shaggy hype is kind of dying down, and I'm kind of happy about it, because Shaggy was annoying as shit at one point. But he's pretty balanced now. He's just a strong A-tier character. Next up is Superman. Superman has been brought down a couple notches, and thank God. His grabs were ridiculous, and I think he's in a good place now. I don't think they should mess with him too much more after this, and just let him be him. I don't feel like we need a lot of crazy patches where we are nerfing and buffing characters like crazy. A lot of these characters just leave alone, small nerfs, small buffs, and then go from there. But Superman can be left alone at this point. He's not overpowered, but he's not underpowered. He doesn't take too much skill, but he's also not Shaggy levels of donkey. So, but yeah, his grabs are a lot more easily manageable now, especially with the decay thing that they did. So now he can't just fly back and forth across the stage. That was so annoying. But yeah, now it actually takes a good amount of skill and timing to use Superman's grabs. You can't just throw him out there and pray for the best. So yeah, Superman has been brought down, but he's a lot more balanced now. He's not bad though. He's still a good character. Next up is Arya. And honestly, the only thing keeping Arya out of a higher position is just the fact that she's light and she doesn't have a lot of range. She's a melee character, essentially. I don't think she has a single ranged move. But her up special and her uppercuts are very good, and once she gets you in the air, that's a very good spot for Arya to get you in, or well, bad for you but good for her, once she gets you in the air, she's very strong, but on the ground she's solid, but she's not OP on the ground. It's just the air. Don't let Arya get you in the air, because her up special and her uppercuts are very strong. But that's essentially it. That's why she's an A tier. Next up, Taz. My boy Taz. Thank God they buffed him. And then they nerfed him, and they nerfed his chicken a little bit, but I understand why. And Taz is still a very strong character. His tornado, one of the strongest moves in this game, because it has priority over so many other moves, and it can just knock you back. I hate playing against double Tazes, because double Tazes, they know what they're doing. They'll just tornado you to death, and it's very annoying. But otherwise, yeah, he's got his dog pile, his down air strike, his like tornado where he only spins his legs, and then I really want to try to get better with Taz at like eating projectiles, because I want to use his move where he eats the projectile and then spits out a anvil, and then throw the anvil. I want to try. I haven't been able to pull that off yet. It's very annoying. But otherwise, yeah, Taz is just a solid character. He's obviously not better than these guys, but he can hold his own now, and I'm happy that they brought Taz back up. Next up, Tom and Jerry. And honestly, the only two moves, or the only thing keeping Tom and Jerry in A tier right now, is the fact that his strike moves or his normal moves are very strong. His mallet, his frying pan uppercut, and his spike are very strong. And also his rocket move is like his strongest special move, where he ties Jerry to a rocket and he can control the rocket. Oh my god, right now Tom and Jerry's just use that move constantly, especially in 1v1s. I was playing against this Tom and Jerry who literally just kept doing that, and it was so annoying. And then I rematch him and I changed to Tom and Jerry, and and I'm fighting his Tom and Jerry doing the same thing he did, and I'm destroying him, and then he disconnects. I'm like, yo, are you for real? But yeah, Tom and Jerry is still good. He's still solid. It's just he's not S tier like he was before. It's weird how, or not weird, but his Jerry being able to die quicker has definitely brought him down a lot. If they gave his Jerry another life, like an extra, like, or takes more damage to die or something, he would be up here. But because his Jerry dies quickly, and that's pretty much like his best moves come from having Jerry with him, it's that's why he's down here. So, next up, LeBron. I think LeBron has come a long way. He's definitely a lot better now than he was before. I really like using LeBron, especially 1v1s. He's really good, but he's still good in 2v2s. See, I don't know why people keep saying like LeBron is like down here more. He's very good. What I love doing in duos is I'll be using LeBron, and then I know that certain character, or I know that my teammate is getting comboed. So while I'm fighting the other opponent, I'll throw my basketball and knock my teammate out of the combo that they're in, and then they can fight back. His basketball is so useful. I love his basketball. It's so fun to use. And just like being able to have that basketball, and then he's quick. He's a quick character. He's like Batman with a basketball, essentially, instead of a batarang. And honestly, I love it. I don't know why he can't be up here. I'm not exactly sure. But I think it mainly just comes down to him not having enough power or something like that. I honestly don't know what's keeping him from being up here. but he is a good character and he has a lot of well designed moves. So I just wonder, like, what is it about LeBron that's keeping him from being up here with these guys when he has a lot of what these guys have? He has a projectile that comes back pretty quickly. He has strength. He has good, like, kill potential. He can do a lot of damage. I don't really know what's keeping him from being up there. It's just I've noticed he's not as strong as some of these others. Maybe I could switch him with Tom and Jerry, but I'll just keep him at the bottom of A tier for now. And that'll be it for A tier. So next up, we have Black Adam starting off B tier. Black Adam just dropped, so this might change. But I think he's solid. He's not A tier, but he's not bad. And I don't think any of the characters on this game are bad, but Black Adam, he's very combo heavy and his combos are kind of complicated. But once you get it down, it's not that bad. It's just his moveset is kind of weird. It's weird with all the lightning and stuff and the cooldowns. I feel like the best way to buff Black Adam to put him up in A tier is just to give him a slightly less cooldown, a smaller cooldown on his lightning. Because I've noticed that, like, I'll go through his lightning very quickly and I don't even realize it, and then without his lightning, he's kind of useless in a way. Like, his lightning moves are his best moves, so if I can't shock the opponents, it's kind of, eh. But his ground neutral or ground normal, whatever you want to call it, where the lightning comes out of the ground, is very good. And what was pointed out on Twitter is that if you're fighting an opponent and that opponent is on the wall, if you ground normal, it'll hit the wall and knock him off the wall. That's pretty fun. I like that. That's a very good thing to have for him. And overall, he's quick, and he's like Superman light, essentially. That's what he is. He's Superman without the armor. Like, he's a quicker, less armored version of Superman, kind of. Granted, he's not a clone. I don't think he's a clone of Superman. He definitely has his own style. He's a lot more combo heavy. But he's similar that... I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But he's definitely a more complicated, less tanky version of Superman. I kind of wish he was a tank. Not gonna lie. I feel like we need more tanks in this game. I don't know why he was a bruiser. Again, we have another bruiser. But, it is what it is. We have 8 bruisers in this game. Like, we have 8 bruisers, 4 assassins, 3 tanks, 3 mages, and 4 supports. It's like, goddamn, we have double the amount of bruisers as we do assassins and supports. So, But Black Adam is solid for now. We'll see what they do with him. Alright. Next up, Iron Giant. Unfortunately, I had him in A tier before, but I have to bring him down. He's been nerfed into oblivion. He's still not bad. And he's probably a lot worse in 1v1s than he is in 2v2s. But I still use him in 2v2s, and I can find some success with him. The biggest issue for me with Iron Giant, and it sucks because he's one of my favorite characters. I love using him. I love his style. I love the character himself. He's so cool. But I feel like with Iron Giant, your success depends more on your teammate than you. And what I mean is, when you're playing 2v2s with Iron Giant, please, if you have an Iron Giant on your team, just make sure you're protecting him from being double teamed, because oh my god, he is so, and this goes for any character. If you see your teammate getting double teamed, please help them. It's very annoying when you're being double teamed and your character and your teammate is just standing there. It's very annoying. But especially with Iron Giant, because he's so big and so juggleable, and it's so hard for him to get down to the ground again. So if you're fighting Harley or Batman or Bugs or Velma or Shaggy as Iron Giant and they get you in the air, it is so hard to escape death. And it's so annoying, especially when your teammate won't hit you out of it. Like, I get it can't happen all the time, but come on, just be conscious of the, like, because Iron Giant is very good when the teammate is supporting him, but if your teammate is a rando that doesn't support, like, isn't helping you at all, you're screwed as Iron Giant. And certain maps screw over Iron Giant too. Tree Fort and Scooby's Mansion with the roof, oh god, those screw over Iron Giant so bad. I hate playing as Iron Giant on the Treehouse one. Oh my god, it's so annoying. But yeah, that's why Iron Giant is down here more. Please, just support the Iron Giant and the Iron Giant will do well and help you do a lot of damage if you just keep him from dying at like very early times, you know, in the match. Like, just help him out. But alright, so next up, Garnet. And Garnet has gotten a lot better. She has. I can't say she hasn't. She has gotten better. She is definitely a lot stronger than she was before. Before I would have put her down here. But now she's here. And I'm happy about it. The issue is she's still not up here, even though she could be. Making her hands not hittable anymore, very good change. That helped out a lot. But unfortunately, the only thing that Garnet excels in at this point is edge guarding. Oh my god. If you get hit off the I've played against so many Garnets that'll get you off the map. They'll stand at the edge and they'll just jab spam the whole time. Just jab spam, you know, and then she has armor on it. so you really have to like try and get above her. And then if you try to get above her, she just claps her hands in the air or does that uppercut thing. And then you're back where you were before. She is so good at edge guarding, but other than that, she's just mediocre at everything else. Not gonna lie, her moveset is the most boring in the game. Like half of her moveset is just punching. That's her moveset, it's punching. Her one projectile is her literally shooting her fists. It's essentially just a very long punch. Her moveset is the most boring in the game, and it sucks. I have not watched Steven Universe, so I don't know what Garnet can do in the show, but I feel like they could have done something, given her something to make her more interesting of a character to play as. But she's just not. The only thing she can do other than punch is make a little shield thing and then do a music buff, which is Gizmo can do the same thing. So I'm like I don't know. Garnet is a very boring character compared to all these other characters. Like, you got this dude fighting with basketball, you have Superman, you have Jake's stretchy abilities, Morty and Rick have some of the most unique movesets in the game. Stripe, even Gizmo has like a super unique moveset, and he's not a fighter. Iron Giant has a solid, unique moveset and abilities. Garnet just doesn't, and the only idea I could come up with, just based on my knowledge of, you know, Steven Universe, which is barely anything, maybe if they're gonna make her like the brawler, like the ultimate brawler character, give her a parry. Give her a, like, if you like Steven's bubble, where if you hold down the dash button, if you hold it down, it'll put her in like this block animation for like 5 seconds or something, and then if you get hit by a melee attack within that 5 seconds, she does a parry and she doesn't get damaged. I feel like that would be really cool, and something, if she's gonna be like a combo heavy brawler character just throwing punches, give her something to defend herself, you know? I feel like that'd be a really cool idea and something cool to add to her as like a passive ability, because no other character in this game has a parry. Give it to Garnet. Give Garnet a parry and let her, you know, just, you know, she gets hit by a melee attack, she punches him back, and then they go flying. That would be cool. and make her a little bit more unique compared to the other characters. Because all she does is punch. But, alright, next up we got Rain Dog. Rain Dog is a solid character, but he's been nerfed recently, and he's essentially this character now that just kind of needs to sit in the corner and shoot things and shoot projectiles, and like he's like guarded up in the corner. I wish they gave him more like combo potential or like abilities like that are more up close and personal, because right now he's just throw up a gem, shoot a fireball, and then shoot one of the little light balls, and then just keep doing that. And then every once in a while you headbutt him or do an uppercut or something, or you just throw out a spike every once in a while. But yeah, Rain Dog is still solid, mainly for the fact that he's essentially a tank in a support role. His tether is really useful, and he doesn't die easily. So yeah, that's what's he's still a solid character, but he could be a little bit better. Now, next up for C tier, we're finishing up B tier and we're moving to C tier. We got Steven again in C tier. I know a lot of people, like especially in the cat, they like to say like, oh, if you really know how to play Steven, he's super good. He's amazing. Best character in the game, S tier. I'm like, I don't see this ever. Like what is this being based off on? like I don't understand. Like I don't see Steven really in tournaments. I don't see him winning tournaments. I don't see him online at all. Like I don't know where this is coming from. Like I don't believe it because I don't see it at all. Like I've never seen a Steven be really good. And if a character is so complicated to the point where to be good with that, I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. Now, do I think he's a bad character? No, I don't. But if he's that complicated, it's not worth having him be that complicated in order to be good. There's this like idea that if a character is good and it just takes a lot of work, that means that they're really good. Like if they're super complex to get good with, but once you get good with them, they're like S tier amazing. If it takes that much, like on that level of like work to put into the character in order to get to S tier, they're not S tier. It's too much. You can't I've never how much work do you have to put into? It's not like he's complicated. So I don't believe in this. He's not a complicated character. You put up platforms and then hit people. It's not that hard. I play as Steven. I use Steven. I'm not ignorant to his abilities. But I just don't see where this Steven hype is coming from. I don't see it in other players. I don't see it when I play him. I just don't see it. I don't think he's bad, but comparing him to the rest of the cast, I can't put him above C tier. I just can't. He's not as good as all these characters. He's just not. These characters are all simpler and can do more than he can. So I just don't believe the hype around Steven. He's still C tier because the devs don't change him, which is weird. It's like every patch he either goes unchanged or he gets one nerf. It's very weird the way that they handle Steven. But I don't know, maybe the devs see it too, where they're like, we can't change him too much or he'll get too good. It's like, I don't believe that. I think you can make some changes to him. Maybe make him a little bit heavier or something. Just something small like that. Make him heavier. Give his moves more. Give his shield more knockback. His kill moves are non-existent almost. He's so hard to kill with. I would give his shield more knockback and make him a little bit heavier. And then he'd probably be up here in A tier, most likely, if you just did those two small changes. He might be top of B tier at that point, but as of right now, he's C tier. And then, unfortunately, last on the list, we got Gizmo, who I consider to be the worst character in the game to use right now. He got nerfed a bit. he got buffed a bit, and and I just want to point out the fact that in my last tier list video I did when a Gizmo came out, I did it like a week after Gizmo came out, and I was spot on with what they said. You can go back and watch my old video and watch when I bring up Gizmo. I said they're gonna nerf his car and buff his music. That's what they need to do, and they did that among other things. But they nerfed his car and they buffed his music. That I knew they would do that. That's the only way to really change Gizmo to make him fair. The issue now is that he is an expert level character. I don't see how he wasn't labeled an expert level character and Black Adam was. Like, Black Adam is easier to figure out than Gizmo, not gonna lie. Like, Gizmo's whole thing is he has to set up popcorn, set up music notes in the popcorn, and then shoot the popcorn with a bow and arrow that you have to charge in order to do anything with any of that. like that's complicated. And then his music notes do very little damage, and then he has his car, and that's his car is not a kill move. The only kill move he really has is his umbrella. I just don't get his umbrella, and then his little uppercut thing where he swings his paws around. But he doesn't have that much. He's definitely the worst character right now so far. Like, just because he's overly complicated and you don't get enough out of it. You just don't. He's not bad. I don't think he's bad. I would put him in D tier if I thought he was bad. But I feel like the best thing they could do with him is to make the charge for his bow and arrow take less time. Like to get to the fire arrow. Make it take less time, because a lot of times I'll be trying to charge it and set it up, and then I'll just get hit out of it. And I'm like, alright, there's no point in me trying to charge this arrow, if I really... And then while I'm charging my arrow in the corner, my teammate is getting double teamed or something, and I'm like, alright, this isn't worth it. It's just not worth it. So I think the best buff they could give Gizmo right now is to make it so that the fire arrow takes less time to charge. I feel like that would be a solid buff that would help him out a lot with his popcorn setups. Because I just have like a ton of popcorn on the stage, and I'm like, I can't do anything because I need to help my teammate. And then I have no idea. I've never played as Gizmo in 1v1, but I feel like that's horrible because so much of his stuff is set up, and if you're only fighting one person, that person is just gonna ram through your setup. You're not gonna have time to set up like that. Your music notes do not. They need to make the music effect, the silence effect, last longer if they're gonna make it that hard to get the effect in the first place. That's another thing that they could do to buff Gizmo a little bit. Buff the music and make his fire arrow take less time to charge. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, this tier list is my opinion. I don't like having a ton of characters in each tier list. I don't. That's why my tier list probably looks a little bit different than most people's, just because, I got 8 in S tier, 8 in A tier, 4 in B tier, and 2 in C tier. I've spread my tiers out more. And again, like I said, none of these characters are bad. It's just my opinion on how I compare the characters. But yeah, so that is my tier list. I feel like the most controversial one is Jake being an A tier, not S tier, and maybe having Bugs in S tier over Jake. But that's just my opinion, man. Well, alright, so that'll be it for tonight. If y'all have your own thoughts, leave them down in the comments below. I figured I'd hop on the tier list hype train now. And what I want to do is make a video about putting out my predictions for Season 2, which hopefully will drop, it will drop soon. I don't know why I said hopefully. I'm tired. But alright, so leave your comments down below, and everyone have a good day.